Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Are you retiring soon? If so, you need to make a decision whether that is to stay in your current home or perhaps move. And that could actually mean moving because you need to downsize. You could actually rent instead of owning. And then also you could even consider moving to another state or country. So what happens in retirement is you begin living on a fixed income. And so that makes it a struggle to find ideal housing due to a lack of affordable options. And as we know now in this market that we're in right now, the affordability factor is, really hitting a lot of people. So what happens is in most of the time throughout history, housing prices rise, but what happens is your retirement income stays, actually it doesn't even stay the same, it decreases, and that's because of two things. One is it decreases because of inflation, which is always going to happen, and it also decreases because the money that you have set aside for retirement is usually put in, as you get older, in more conservative investments, so therefore that money is not growing as quickly. So with that, let's take a look at the tips for finding affordable housing in retirement. So obviously you can consider just staying in place. And that's the first option, obviously, because your house is probably either paid off or you have very low payments. But what you do need to consider if that is an option for you is, and this actually has happened to people that I know, if you're in a two-story house and you're older, that's may not be the best scenario for you. So, that's something you definitely need to take into consideration. You also need to think about things that make the house a safer place, like maybe getting rid of the bathtub and that you have to keep stepping over to get into the shower, and just putting in one of those showers that you just walk into that doesn't have a bathtub in it. Grab handles, things like that, any little steps that you might have that cause tripping. Rugs are even another big thing that can be detrimental for seniors in a home. Another thing that I really like is the toilets that are raised higher now. Those are especially helpful for seniors. So keep that in mind, but definitely your first option to consider is perhaps staying in place where you are, because there could be a lot of advantages to that. Another key to finding affordable housing in retirement is to make that move early if you do think you're going to move. Moving early in retirement actually puts you in the driver's seat because you're obviously probably in better health than you will be later on in the years, and you can make better decisions if you do that so early. So another benefit to that is cost of moving early, as you'll have more money and income early on in your retirement. So if you can make the decision earlier as opposed to later, you're going to be better off and well ahead of the curve. So take that into consideration as well. Another thing to consider is to definitely determine your needs. And that is not only your needs for right now, but also your needs that you may have to think about what those would be in the future. So consider all your options before making a move. And part of that is based on your desired lifestyle, but also your health requirements that you either are having now or you think you may have in the future. The 55 plus community, we have quite a few of those here in Arizona, or co-housing are good options if you're interested in low maintenance and also an active lifestyle. If you have health issues or you think you will have health issues, perhaps an assisted living environment might be a better choice for you. So again, it's kind of hard to read the future. Obviously, you don't know what is going to happen in the future, but you can kind of, if you're already having health issues right now, then you know that those could only be perhaps become greater as the years go on. So consider those two options, or several options, but you definitely want to take a needs inventory of what's going on in your life at that particular time. The next one is one of my favorite ones, and that is because it lends to the voice of experience. But speak to those who have gone before you in this arena, peers, friends, colleagues that have taken this step because they have probably done a lot of research into this, and now they're living what they researched. So I would ask them also, if you have a friend in an area, what do you like about this, the choice that you made? But also ask them what they would have done differently, because obviously a lot of times you might think to yourself, having gone down that road, wow, I wish I would have done this after the fact. So you can learn from their voice of experience, and I think that would be really a wise move to make. If they live somewhere that you like, ask them to keep their eyes and ears open, because they could see something that is going for sale, going to be for sale or are coming soon, and that can be really helpful to you getting a jump on the market or that home before it actually in the very early stages, so that you can get in there and make a good offer on that property. And then the other thing that you can do is you can just talk to real estate agents in that area, because they know the area. Most realtors are hyper local, meaning that they really know an area. Like this area that I live in now, obviously I've lived here for almost 30 years, so I really know this area. I've been in almost every model of house here in this subdivision. So you know, they can do certain things for you. They can keep abreast of the situation for you if you are interested in that particular area. So make friends with somebody who lives in an area that you like, and also make friends with a realtor that can help you in that area. But they can be very beneficial to you. So my next tip for you is, you know, the internet is the answer to a lot of questions. So you can actually try a housing search tool for retirees. That can give you a lot of information, and you know, you don't even have to talk to anybody on the phone if you don't want to, but some of those are like seniorliving.org, placeformom.com, and caring.com. And there's just a plethora of information on those sites. And again, you don't have to talk to anybody initially if you don't want to, but you can just start gathering all the information. And you know, you can probably even drive around some of those places, the locations that they give you, and just take a look there before making the commitment of going in and actually having an appointment to talk to them. But they can give you a lot of information, really good information. Obviously, they're experts and deal with retirees all the time. Obviously, that's their market. So that would be a really good thing to do if you're thinking about something like that. That's a good place to actually start. So another option for finding affordable housing in retirement years, for the retirement years, is you could actually move to a senior-friendly locality. So I think I've mentioned in previous videos that I live very close to Sun City, which is just northwest of where I live here in Glendale. So Sun City, there's Sun City West, and then also in Mesa, the city of Mesa, there is a place called Leisure World. So we are definitely senior friendly here in the state of Arizona. Part of that is obviously the weather. We get a lot of what's called snowbirds, or people that live here in the winter and wherever they're from in the summer when it can be brutally hot here. So certain cities and towns are senior friendly or better for retirees than others, and that's based on affordability, health and safety, the climate, and obviously the quality of life. There in Sun City, they have what's called just a whole area. I think I believe there are several, at least around 7. They're called the rec center. And so that's a place where you can work out. There's a library. There's lots of clubs and groups and activities. So there's just a lot to do, and they're usually, you know, not very far from the retirees' homes. What I love about going to Sun City is you see so many people just walking their little dogs, you know, on a walk. They have really nice grassy areas for that. And then a lot of them just driving around in their golf cart. So I think it'd be cool to have a golf cart instead of having to have a car to get around the locality. Senioradvice.com has a senior score livability index, and that uses more than 100 different data points and can be searched by zip code. So I'm actually on the website right here for senioradvice.com, and they have across the top assisted living, nursing homes, home health care, and all senior housing, and then resources. So there's lots of, I'm sure, websites for that, but 100 different data points is a lot. So that can give you a lot of good information, especially if you're just in the very beginning stages of figuring out where you want to live after retirement. So good options for you. This is another one of my favorite tips for finding affordable housing in retirement, and that is move to a state that does not have personal income tax. I think that would be awesome, like super awesome. There are 7 states that do not have this, and that is Alaska, Florida, Nevada, South Dakota, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. So what that's going to do is going to help you stretch your retirement nest egg, because obviously you're not paying that tax, and you're also going to be able to save money on withdrawals from tax advantaged investments. So any investments that you have that you've put aside, like your 401k, I believe you will not have to pay those taxes on those when you get the withdrawals from them. So one thing you have to remember about that, the personal income tax not existing in those 7 states, is you will still have to pay property and sales tax. But think of it this way. If you could find a state that didn't have high property taxes, and here in Arizona, they're fairly low compared to a lot of other places, especially back east that I hear of. But think about that. If you could live in one of those 7 states, and then one of those 7 states also have very low property taxes, that would be huge, huge benefit. So you might look into that. Obviously it'd be a pretty quick Google search to find out which state has low property taxes out of the 7 that I mentioned, and perhaps think about going to that state in your retirement years. And then another tip for finding affordable housing in your retirement years is to rent instead of owning. And what that could do is, obviously you're still going to have a payment, and perhaps if your house was already paid off, that may not be good. But if you sold your house and then put that money aside to use as your rent payment, that might be something that would be beneficial to you. But one thing to remember when you rent versus own is when you own a home, and as the home gets older and as you yourself are getting older, it's going to be harder to make those repairs on the home, and they tend to be, as the home gets older, more costly. So that's something to weigh in on. If you think that it's going to be hard for you to do, or it's going to be expensive for you to do, you might just want to rent. And that way, all you have to do, I remember when I was renting in college, something went wrong, you just called the owner and said, hey, this is broken, and he would send somebody out to fix it, and it was fixed. And that was part of the rent that you were paying. So that's something to consider, that may be a good benefit for you, instead of owning the house and having to take that on yourself, especially if the money as you get older is less and less. So kind of keep that in mind as well. So which one of these tips would work best for your situation, at least right now? Whatever that is, I'd love to hear about it. Just go ahead and put that in the comments below. And as always, please like my channel and subscribe. And if there's anything I can do for you or answer any questions, just let me know. I'm always here. Thanks so much, and have a great day.